pasta. Hey guys, I'm Lauren and welcome to the SideChef Studio Kitchen. Today we're going to be making 3-ingredient fresh pasta with cheesy pumpkin Alfredo sauce. If you've ever been someone who's a little intimidated by making fresh pasta, this is definitely the recipe for you. I can't promise you won't get covered in flour, but we're gonna have a great time. Let's get started. First, we're gonna make our fresh pasta dough by combining 3 simple ingredients. We have flour, we have salt, and we have eggs. To start, we're going to put the salt into the flour and then just give it a quick turn around with a fork. After that, make a sort of well in the center of the flour. I like to slowly start to whisk the eggs in the center of the bowl and kind of bring the flour in from the sides as we go. I think in more traditional ways, you would actually do this directly on the counter, but I think starting in a bowl makes it a little bit less messy. The dough has a crumbly texture, and now we're going to turn it out onto a clean work surface and start to knead it. It looks a little messy right now, but it's gonna get there, I promise. Just make sure you keep kind of pushing all of the outlier crumbs towards the center so that they don't get left behind. Because of variables like different egg sizes or different brands of flour, your dough might be a little dry at this point. If it is, no problem, just add a teaspoon of water and keep going. I like to keep a little ramekin of flour nearby just to flour the surface in case anything starts to stick, but you shouldn't need too much of it. The dough is looking great. The outside is smooth, took about 8 minutes. Might take more time, might take less, depending on you. Not depending on you, depending on your dough. I'm just gonna cover it with this plastic wrap. The reason we do this is to relax the gluten in the flour, and that's gonna make it way easier to roll out. The dough is tired, and so am I. So now we are both going to rest for 30 minutes. Just kidding, no resting. We're actually going to prep our basil and garlic. Crush this garlic with the flat side of the knife. We're gonna cut the nubbins off and then mince. I love the smell of garlic. Growing up, my dad always said that my mom wouldn't kiss him if he ate too much garlic. And then when I got older, I never understood that. I would totally kiss someone that smelled like garlic. I could never date a vampire. Basil time. Now I'm gonna thinly slice the basil by first stacking it and then just thinly slicing the stacks to make it easier. Our dough has been resting for 30 minutes and now we are going to cut it into quarters. The quarters don't have to be exact, but we just wanna make it easier to roll out the dough by using smaller pieces. Take one of these pieces to the side and make sure to cover the other 3 so they don't dry out. Great, we've got our 1 piece of dough here. I'm gonna roll it into a rough ball just to make it easier to roll out. Get a little flour on the surface. We've got our rolling pin and we're gonna roll it into a rough oval. Make sure to roll from the center out so that the dough stays a little more even. Flip as you go. We're basically getting it to the thickness you would use to put it through a pasta machine. We aren't using a pasta machine, so we just wanna get it thick enough that we can easily stretch it. Take the rolling pin and sort of fold the end of the dough over the top and then just kind of gently hold it. You don't want to press too hard. Keep a hand here and just slowly stretch it. You'll start to see it get thinner and stretch out. If the dough tears in places, that's totally fine. Just pinch it and keep going. Now we'll do the other side. Great. Dough is stretching out and we'll give it a little bit more of a roll. Oh, we got a little hole. Like I said, no problem. Just give it a little pinch and keep going. Really what we're looking for is a very uniform thinness. We're rolling by hand, that doesn't always happen. And that's fine too. It's gonna taste great no matter what it looks like. Now that we have the thickness we are looking for, which is about as thin as you can get it, we're gonna just trim the ends off. We're just going to add a little bit of flour so none of the noodles stick together, and then roll up the dough like this. You're welcome to keep the ends, but if you want the more uniform pasta noodles, then we'll just chop off these uneven bits. We're going for a fettuccine cut, which is about a 1/2 inch. What I like to do with this first pass especially is just give them a little stretch as you roll them out. Pasta! This helps to make sure they're even and also give us a little bit more length. We really don't want these noodles sticking together, so make sure to leave a little bit of space between each one on the parchment paper. Here we've got a pot filled with around 10 cups of water. We're just going to salt it generously and let it come to a boil. Pasta water is one of the main ingredients in our sauce, so we want to make sure it's seasoned well. We're just going to cover the pot and move it to the side so that it can boil while we make our sauce. To make our cheesy pumpkin Alfredo sauce, we're going to start by drizzling a generous amount of olive oil into this skillet right here. Immediately after I add the oil, I'm going to add the garlic and the nutmeg. We're just making a sort of infused garlic nutmeg oil. The garlic and nutmeg smell amazing, and now we're gonna add the pumpkin. What we're doing here is caramelizing the sugars in the pumpkins and sort of reducing it down into a paste. This is gonna bring out that sort of nutty sweetness in pumpkin that we all love and provide a great base for the sauce. It's already starting to smell really good. After 10 minutes, your pumpkin puree should look a lot like this. It's gotten a little darker, it's more of a paste now, and it smells fantastic. What we're gonna do is turn off the heat now and focus back on our boiling water so that we can make our pasta. Our pasta water is at a rolling boil. The movement in the water really helps the pasta noodles to not stick together. We're gonna drop these into the water and then immediately start stirring so they don't stick together. Fresh pasta cooks really quickly, so make sure to keep an eye on it. Our noodles are a perfect al dente. We're just going to put them directly into the sauce. There's something about making fresh pasta that's honestly so rewarding, and it really doesn't take that much time at all. Oh, I see it. Last one. Oh, she's slippery. Got it. Done. Right after you add the pasta to the pan, we're gonna follow up with the Parmesan and the basil. Now we're gonna add around 1/4 cup of the pasta water. Then turn the heat to medium and start to gently toss everything together. You really just want to use more of a gentle folding motion and follow up with more pasta water as you go. Our homemade pasta is done and it looks and smells amazing. To finish it off, I like to add a little bit of Parmesan, some red pepper flakes, and a few whole basil leaves. This pasta is ready to be devoured. Whether it's a date night in, a way to unwind after a busy week of Zoom calls, or you just really miss your favorite pasta place, this recipe is the warm hug of fall flavors that we all need right now. I hope you enjoy!